It's a pet takeover this week for New Comic Book Day. From Krypto the Superdog to Jeff the Land Shark, the furry sidekicks are front and center. But they're not the only ones grabbing attention. Emma Frost returns in a new limited series exploring her early days as the White Queen with the Hellfire Club. Plus, we got eye-catching variant covers and a full publisher breakdown and more. Let's check out your fresh picks. It's New Comic Book Day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's New Comic Book Day, and we have some great comic books for June 18, 2025. As you can see right there with the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about some animals today.
Lots of them.
Shane, how's it going, my man?
Good, very good. Just got back from work, looking through the comics. Can't wait. Yeah, I always love New Comic Book Day.
Yeah, New Comic Book Day for me is going to be a little different because I'm heading out to Heroes Con this weekend. So when we're actually leaving Wednesday night to get there on Thursday morning. And I don't even know if I'm going to grab my comic books because I got a lot to pick up for the weekend. However, there are some books that I do think I'm going to try to grab sometime in this week to make sure I have some of these books. And there's one book that I really want to grab, and we'll talk about that book a little later. But if this is the first time you're watching our show, thank you for watching. Please take a moment and like the show. Leave a comment. Let me know what comic books you're interested in getting this week. And as always, if you like the stuff, subscribe to the channel. Let's get this started, as we always do, by looking back to what was previously fresh. And that is the books that were hot last week. These are the top 5 books according to the League of Comic Geek. And it started with Absolute Batman number 9 with 43% of the votes. That's huge. Batman Dark Materials came in second with 5%, but The Death of Silver Surfer also came in with 5%, and Transformers also came in with 5%. So there's a 3-way tie for number 2. At number 3 with 4% was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I have to ask, did you get a chance to vote?
So you know what? I went to the site and I tried to, but I think you have to have an account. So I didn't. I couldn't.
But you at least tried.
I did try though, because I really wanted to. I have to investigate it more thoroughly, but I think I have to sign up. And if I have to pay, then I'm definitely not doing it. But I have read. I was 2 weeks behind, so I'm still reading through my Marvel. So I haven't read Death of Silver Surfer. And I dropped Batman Dark Patterns. Not any other reason I like it, but I just had to room. But I did read the other 3, and Absolute Batman was great. It's interesting how the Absolute book, especially Superman and Batman, they're really leaning into the horror part of the stories. Like the Brainiac episode, Absolute Superman, was crazy. And this Absolute Batman one with Bane was, I wouldn't say it was as good as that one, but it was still like, you wouldn't want to be anywhere near Bane ever at all. And Transformers was really good. We're getting finally everything is coming together. They did the Megatron's backstory, and Prime has had Megatron's arm, which we all knew that something was going to happen with that, and turns out it was infecting him. So there was that part of the story. And then Turtles right now is probably the best artist working for interiors. Juan Ferreira is doing the interiors on that, and every panel is amazing. He did the Ghost Rider Galacticus story as well that I haven't got to yet, but I did look through it and it looks awesome.
Oh, that's great, man. So I did pick up Death of Silver Surfer, Transformers, and Absolute Batman, but as you already know, I'm always behind on my readings. So my life is very busy, guys. I pick up the books and I just read them like consecutively. You know what I mean? That's how it is. But I got a nice long trip ahead of me where I'll be sitting and just enjoying some books while someone drives me to Charlotte, North Carolina. But I'm happy to say that it is going to be a fun weekend in Heroes Con. So we'll talk about a little bit more about Heroes Con this week. Let's go in and take a look at the rundown. We got 86 new releases this week with 301 variant, which gives us a total of 387 new comic books on the shelves this week. Among them, you have 22 new number ones, and 115 of them are variants, which gives us a total of 137 new number ones on the shelves. As far as potential keys, there actually are a lot this week with 16 potential keys, 7 of which are first appearances. We'll talk a little bit more about some of those first appearances this week, but let's go into the breakdown based off of publishers, starting with Marvel with 22 new titles this week, 95 variants. They were very close. That was pretty much similar last week. However, this week they're a little less on the variants, but more on the titles. But you'll see in a minute why. DC Comics has 12 titles with 52 variants. And over in the other indies, Image Comics has 14 titles with 44 variants. Boom has 3 titles with 8 variants. IDW has 2 titles, 2 variants. Dynamite has 1 title with 14 variants. And Dark Horse has 8 titles and 8 variants. As far as the remaining publishers go, we got 24 new titles and 78 variants. Kind of modest, I have to say.
Yeah, it's not absolutely insane like it usually is.
Well, Marvel and DC are,
Yeah.
but that's kind of like their norm these days, right? But as far as the indies goes, they're pretty okay. They're pretty level set with the week. Let's go ahead and start talking a little bit about our keys. Our key watch, Emma Frost, White Queen #1. We have a David Nakayama cover, which is the cover A. Also, you have a 1 in 100 Joshua Sway Swaby cover and the 1 in 25 Greg Land. This is a 5-issue limited series that explores the early days of the Hellfire Club. Will this be one of those cover by books?
Oh, yeah, for me, for sure.
Mhm.
I'm a huge Nakayama fan, so I'll be picking up that cover without a doubt. So if he does all 5 covers, I'll have all of them.
Yeah. Now, you were talking a little bit off stage about that Greg Land cover. What's your thoughts on that one? Because I have my feelings towards Greg Land, and it's, as I mentioned to you before.
Yeah.
But overall,
I think it's a great cover. I mean, I've read both sides of Greg Land stuff, and I've met him a couple of times and talked with him. I have some stuff on one side or the other me that he signed, and something over there that he signed. What it boils down to for me is look at that cover. I think it looks awesome.
it's a negative space cover. That's something that's also interesting about it.
Yeah, that's true too.
But it's something to leave for the eyes. So it's a great looking cover. I will openly admit to that. It is a great looking cover. All right, our next book here, we're gonna go a little more because we went to the risque. Now we're gonna go with some family friendly stuff, and that is Krypto, the Last Dog of Krypton #1. This is a limited series that explores the story of Krypto and his owner, Lex Luthor. That's interesting, right? So the main covers are going to be done by Jay Lee, which I thought that was also interesting to see. And then we have a Dustin Ewan's cover, which I think is gorgeous, and the Dan Mora movie version of Krypto, which features the movie version of Superman as well. It's fun kids comic.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I don't hear enough people talking about Jay Lee. I don't know why. Like,
He's been doing it for a very long time.
Yeah, and I'm loving his recent covers. They're all really good.
Jay Lee's one of those artists that has evolved over time, but his aesthetic has remained the same. So even when he started way back when with Namor Submariner, his style was always very different from everybody else. He had more of a noir style to his aesthetic, where it was mostly darks and blacks, and then he kind of evolved out of the blacks, but he kept very thin lines, and it's almost like a painted style in his artwork, which is still amazing to look at. He's definitely one of the best ones that are out there today. So
yeah, kind of reminds me of like a I don't want to say the wrong word and have it seem like it's a detriment, but like a more polished Kelly Jones almost.
Okay, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Like I said, his line weight is he goes from thick to thin. Probably better than anybody in the business today. I will admit to that part. Um, that's not the only animal that we're going to be talking about. In fact, Jeff the Land Shark is getting his own ongoing series, and I'm all for it. And we have a potential first appearance with the Shadow Jeff. Um, this book is coming out this week from Marvel Comics. There's a 1 in 100 art germ cover. There is an open order version of that one. And of course, we got the main cover, which is done by, I hope I can say this right, Guri Yuri. That's what I'm going to go for. And I apologize if I butcher his name. And then there's a Nile Fuji 1 in 25 cover. I'm sticking with the art germ. I think the art germ cover is the best one.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be buying that cover. And I'm curious to see, like, is he going to talk finally, or what? How are they going to write this series? Is everybody else going to talk for him?
I'm pretty sure this is one of those silent books because most of his stories are silent, which makes it easy to read.
Yeah, but that's tough to do. Like, for 5, 10, 12, 20, 25 issues, that's going to be interesting to see how they pull that off.
We'll see. I think this is a great idea, having the book targeted towards kids, because that's what it is. It's a kid's book. Yeah. And I love when they do that. I think comic books today, especially the main lines, they don't focus on kids comics the way they should. When you got the independents doing it with Dogman and stuff like that, why is it Marvel and DC really haven't gone into it? They've done a little bit, but I'm talking about mainstay books where people really go to it. And I think this is a great opportunity. You can hate Jeff all you want. I love me some Jeff, so I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Right. Our next book is Superman Unlimited #2. This is the second issue of the series that's done by Dan Slott. You got the Ralph Riel Albuquerque. He's doing the covers, which are 1 in 25 Christian Ward, and there is a Tony Daniel cover that's really nice. It features the first appearance of the Kryptonite King, the leader of Kryptonite nation state El Calderon, and it also has the first team appearance of the Krypto Knights. Talk to me. You read issue 1. What's going on here?
So it was a good issue. I really did like it. I don't know if I'm getting the second one or not. I'll have to see on Wednesday. I love that Tony Daniel cover. And it was an interesting story because it was a cool take on how they're bringing this kryptonite back. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but you should read the first issue for sure, and then decide if you want to continue on with it and go from there.
Okay. All right, there you have it. Let's go to our next book, and that is Exquisite Corpse #2. You got the Michael Walsh cover. There's a phenomenal 1 in 50 Martin Simmons cover, and there's a Tula Lotoya cover. And you read issue 1 as well. So are you looking forward to issue 2?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great series. I really like it. It was a cool idea, kind of like the Purge and Hunger Games kind of combined. With a little Game of Thrones in there. And watch out for a 1 per store edition that will probably be fairly scarce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exquisite Corpse came in with, out with a bang. So issue 2, I'm sure people are going to go grab it. As you say, people are liking this story. They've been picking up these variants. So it would be no surprise that issue 2 will be an instant sellout.
Yeah, and the other ones to watch out for are there's a reprint of issue 1 coming out, and there's a version of issue 2, and they come polybagged with a card in them. So that might be something that will also spike up some of those books.
Let's take a look at our next book in our list, and that is the Indie Key of the Week, Return to Skull Island #1. This is from Titan Comics. It's the official continuation of the Skull Island animated series. With Khan's return, and it spins out of the Netflix show, that the animated series. This is just some fun MonsterVerse stuff, man. King Kong, Godzilla, they're everywhere, dude. And why not continue that with this book?
Yeah, my one kid is loving all these Godzilla, Kong movies, so we're going slowly through them all. And I don't think we've watched the animated show yet, so that'll be interesting to check out.
Well, once you see it, you can go to this comic and continue reading the story.
That's
So
right.
that's the idea of that. Another book that we're gonna call a key here is a book that's coming out on Heroes during Heroes Con, and I definitely have to give a shout out, and that is the Comics Curing Cancer Community Art Book. This is the second book of the series. The first one was from last year, where yours truly did a part in it. Now this year we have some amazing artists that are attached to this project. You got a phenomenal cover by David Sanchez, and this is a limited to 300 copies. All the proceeds of the comic book are going to Comics Curing Cancer, but you have some amazing artists like Adam Fields, Annie Dusso, Austin LeMay, Brand Flakes is in there, Chad Chotel, who's a good friend of mine, David Sanchez, Ignacio de Magli, Javier Jordan. You also have Martin Zavala, Matt Wilson, our good friend Taylor Winder is also there. Todd Beats and one of the locals from me, Will Torres, is all going to be part of this book. I'm looking forward to this. I will be picking up my copy at Heroes Con, but this is a beautiful cover, and support Comics Curing Cancer just like we're doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a no-brainer pickup because all the proceeds do go towards that great cause.
All right, so let's go in and start talking about some variants, starting with some DC variants. Detective Comics 1098, the Bruno Redondo. Also, we have two really cool Wonder Woman variants in Wonder Woman 22. We got the 1 in 25 Serge Acuna cover and the Jeffrey Spokes cover. I really, really like that cover a lot. What's your thoughts on these three so far?
Yeah, the Batman one definitely gives off like Batman animation style vibes with a little bit of anger in there. So I really like that one.
Yeah,
And
very simple.
we're going to be talking about it, I'm sure, but we're approaching Detective Comics 1100, and there's a Frank Miller cover, so watch it.
In 2 years, right? In
Yeah,
two more issues. I said
yeah,
2
I
years.
love that Spokes cover too. So those are great covers.
Also from DC, we have Absolute Flash #4, the 150 Henning cover. There's a special late night talk show cover of Batman Superman World Fighters #40 with Dan Mora. There he is, the host of the Late Show. Why his name's escaping me though. I don't
Stephen
know why.
Colbert.
There you go, Stephen Colbert. I think this is his second cover in a comic book, believe it or not. This is not his first. And then there's a Catwoman 77 by Dan Panosian. Share your thoughts.
That Superman one will be interesting because there was a bit of a buzz around the one with him and James Gunn that came out, I think, last week or the week before.
Oh, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So that book got a little bit hot. So we'll see if this one kind of continues that trend. It seems like, with the movie coming up soon, like really, we're only less than a month away. We're 3 weeks away from that movie hitting.
Yeah.
So they're really building up the stuff, which is great. I hope that it busts records because it's just good for comics all around.
I agree. I also think with these celebrity covers, they're hit and misses. The only way I could see this book outperforming if Steve Corbell does a show where he showcases the comic book and then people start grabbing it. That's how I see this book going up in value. But I think they're on hiatus now because it is the summer season and talk shows usually go on hiatus during the summertime. So it's probably a bad timing. Because if it was during the time when the show was running, then you could easily say, hey, look, I got a comic book. And there you have it. People start going and buying it because that usually is the way it works. So,
and he is a comic like fan in some indirectly ways too. So he's aware of the universes.
Yeah, that is cool. All right, let's take a look at some Marvel covers, starting with Amazing Spider-Man #6. This is the Damian Scott 1 in 25 variant. There's a gorgeous Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu #9 by Paulo Segura. And there's also a really cool X-Men 18 featuring the Beast by Martin Colacola. That's a 1 in 25 variant. All three of them are really awesome to me.
Yeah, and I can't remember if this Moon Knight is the oversized 50 legacy one or not, but there is. If it isn't, that's also coming up soon. So watch out for that. That Amazing Spider-Man, I do like that cover. I've never heard of that person before, though.
Oh, you
so
never
I'll have
heard of
to look
Davian
up.
Scott before?
No.
Davian Scott has done a lot of he's kind of like a graffiti artist. He did some Spider Boy, and he's done Spider-Man tons of times. So I'm sure you've seen his work. He's
Yeah,
been
I
around
probably
for a
have
while.
some, just not remembering.
Yeah, he's been around for a while. He's done some Batman, some Robin. That's probably where you see him the most. All right, let's take a look at some more, starting with Star Wars Dr. Aphra Chaos Agent #1. This is the 1 in 100 Sarah Pacelli, but there is an open order version of this one. Godzilla versus Avengers is out this week, and of course, the Leave Garbett versus covers are always awesome to see. And there's a Gwenpool #2 1 in 50 lyrics cover, all of which are books that I personally like and love.
Yeah, I haven't picked any of them up, but I do love those Godzilla boxing card covers. And I really like that Dr. Aphra issue. I'm hoping that they kind of right the ship with her and get her back on track, because she's a amazing character that kind of just got lost somehow. Really, same thing I think about Harley Quinn. And then Gwenpool too. I read the first issue, I believe, and it was okay. I'm waiting to see what they do with this character, though.
Yeah. That Star Wars is very much reminiscent of the Catwoman Adam Hughes cover, of course, you know. But I'm curious to see how it is, because Dr. Aphra is one of those characters that has yet to make an appearance live action.
Yeah.
But we know the day will come.
It's
sure. Just when it's going to happen. That's the real question. So, also coming out this week, you got some indie books here with Deadly Tales of Gunslinger 7 by Gianerico Bonacosiro. If I mess it up, I'm sorry, but very Mark Spears-ish to me. Yeah. Also, we got Invincible Universe Battle Beast issue #2, the Ryan Otley cover. There's some really cool bangers with that one too. G.I. Joe #8, the connecting cover with the Energon Universe by Jason Howard is out too. So that's the second one. Last week we had the first one.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Battle Beast book, because it's just been really good, and it gives me my Invincible fix since we're in between shows and seasons and all that. Mm-hmm. G.I. Joe, I think I did buy that last issue that's connecting, so I'll have to check, and if I do, I'll pick up that one. But G.I. Joe is kind of on the outs for me. I don't know how much longer I'll get it. It's kind of the first crack showing in the Energon universe, really.
Yeah. Also, we got Vampirella #3. Now, there's multiple versions. I decided to take the 1 in 20 Mark Spears cover that's here. I like the colors in this one. Obviously, it's paying homage to that other previous Vampirella cover. In fact, one of his earlier works is this same picture, which he's done, and this is obviously an homage. There's a Herculoids #5, 1 in 20 by Joseph Michael Linzier. I don't know if a Hanna-Barbera cartoon should be doing that, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then the Epitaph of the Abyss #12, the Tom Fowler cover, all of which these covers are pretty cool. I love them all.
Yeah, I did pick up. There's a Epitaph label new book that just came out about a vampire girl. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's just lifted out of my head. But it was actually really good, and it was my first kind of exposure to these EC redo books. It was a lot of fun, so I'll probably end up getting the next issue too.
Cool. All right. And there you have it, guys. Those are your fresh picks for this week's New Comic Book Day. Tell me what you think. Like the video. Make sure you leave a comment. Let me know which books you're planning to pick up. Share this video for your family and friends. And, of course, subscribe. And we thank you for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Excelsior. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more comic content. Check out these other videos for even more insight, and I'll see you at the next one. Excelsior.